is the 10th of October 2014. And this particular vlog, I'm going to be talking about Oxford Paranormal UK and why I created it. Hi and welcome to Oxford Paranormal UK. Apologies for this being an introductory video while I'm actually driving, but I do a lot of videos this particular way, and it's not dangerous, by the way, because it's no different really than talking to someone in the car. So in fact, because it's only a one-way conversation, it's probably safer than talking to somebody in the car. So anyway, what is Oxford Paranormal UK? Well, I think like a lot of people, I created, if you like, this group, which I have a few. There's me and a couple of other people at the moment, which is how most normal groups start out, and a couple of people who are actually interested, inquisitive about the whole paranormal thing. It's come about for me because I've tried joining other groups, and I don't really understand why they have a website and a Facebook page and they try to interact with people, but they don't want other people to join them for some reason. So at the end of the day, they just seem to become a closed group. Now maybe there's a reason for that. The only thing that I can think of is because maybe they're just afraid of being not exposed, that's the wrong word, but being slated as a quacky, paranormal group for whatever reason. But anyway, the reason why I've created Oxford Paranormal UK, partly because I have been interested from a very early age in anything to do with paranormal. I have, from a very early age, kind of debunked and dismissed a lot of so-called paranormal stuff that I've observed, I've read about, I've watched over many years, and a lot of it is just hype. It's just people creating hype, usually for some sort of monetary means. And I'm not interested in that. For me, the paranormal side links very tightly with my own psychology qualifications and my interest in psychology for probably well over 30 years. Excuse me. And they are fairly tightly linked. So I'm interested. Why has this come about? The reason why I'm now doing this is because the technology is now available that you can actually publicise what your findings are, what your investigations are actually about. And there is now a community of people that have, if you like, opened up to the acceptance of the paranormal and the fact that you can actually talk to spirits and people who have passed on, and it's not all hocus pocus rubbish, and you're not becoming in league with the devil and raising demonic spirits and doing all of these other things. That anybody can really go and spend £30-40 on a digital recorder, and they can start talking to spirits and recording those responses on a digital recorder. Now, yes, digital recorders have been around. I mean, I bought one of the very early ones, paid an absolute fortune for it, a little Olympus, and it cost a lot. Before then it was all tape, and the tape was difficult to edit. It wasn't digital by any means, so in order to edit audio, you were very much reliant on the quality of the equipment, etc., etc. So anyway, I'm blabbering about technology, but the latest technology, things called ghost boxes and bits of software like EchoVox and the GB1 software, for instance, and various people around the world that are making sort of spirit boxes or ghost boxes. The use of that technology is just mind-blowing. It's now become accessible to the masses. It's not a specialism that certain people have, been involved in. And there's all sorts of technology that you can get now that the spirits actually seem to be responding to, which is fascinating, really, really fascinating. So, what's the purpose behind Oxford Paranormal UK? Well, my purpose behind it is I want to do investigations. I'm exploring at the moment the technology side and the editing side, which, with my skills as a photographer and a videographer and as a psychologist are all coming into play, which makes it slightly easier for me to actually do it. So I can produce really good quality audio, for instance, and relatively good video. I don't want to be a sensationalist. When I observe the TV programs, especially things like Ghost Paranormal? I can't remember now what they're called even. But they are just so hyped up and drawn out. They try to make out that there's always an evil aspect to everything that they do, and it's sensationalist, and I don't like that kind of thing. You observe that these things exist, and you leave them to their devices. You don't let them feed on you, and you don't feed them. So you just get on with, and there's an awful lot more, like everything in life, there's a lot more positive than there is negative around. But TV shows like to focus on the negative because that's what gets the ratings, and that's what gets people scared and uptight. Excuse me. So the sensationalism is something that I want to steer away from. I'm a big believer in keeping things simple. I've had some really excellent EVPs from literally just walking around with a digital voice recorder, and realistically that is all you need. Yes, you can spend hundreds, if not thousands, on equipment. Do you really need it? No. We do tend to live in a society that seems to think that we need lots of gadgets. You're not interested in something enough unless you've got £1,000 worth of gadgets. You can actually keep things really, really simple, as long as you know what you're doing. So all I'm interested in is creating a group of like-minded people who want to just experience or share or investigate the paranormal. Not really interested in entertaining weirdos, people who think it's fun, people who buy things like Ouija boards and start playing around with them like it's a toy just because they bought it in a toy shop, is asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble, no doubt. And dealing with, if you like, the demonic side or the very negative side of the paranormal is going to get you into trouble. You're going to be, you're going to have spirits latched onto you or associated with you who have got bad intentions or have got negative intentions for whatever reason. And if you don't know how to deal with them, then it is going to cause you problems. So I just don't really want to go down that route. I don't see the point. I'm interested in investigating paranormal activity, possibly in people's houses, in their business, in their work, or even themselves. I'm interested in exploring the history behind sites, for instance, behind ruins, old buildings. This is what I think is a shame about a lot of the stuff you see on TV. They go to these notoriously dark, historic places and just focus on the bad stuff, instead of actually with the guise of actually thinking that they're helping them out. And I just find that really quite bad. I think it's actually important to explore the history, to get the real story behind, a building, or the people that were in the building, or the situation, or whatever it was that was going on. That's what's interesting. There's plenty of sites around and locations around Oxford that interest me, that I would like. One that's taking on a lot of publicity at the moment is the Oxford Castle, because it's a prison, and there were some pretty bad things going on there. Like, for instance, it was also a male and female prison, and of course a lot of the women were raped and had sex and whatever, and ended up getting pregnant, and the babies from those women were basically dumped into the moat outside the prison for decades, apparently. So, the evidence was hidden. That's pretty horrific. I believe if you're going to go into delving into the negative side of any paranormal activity or anything to do on a site, you need to approach it with caution and use it as a way of gathering information, really. What I find the TV programs seem to do is they seem to go there with the intention of actually aggravating these negative spirits and provoking them into doing something bad, into doing negative stuff, like throwing things around, like poltergeist activity, like possession, and actually one of the most horrific things that I saw was a young chap sort of had his neck and head twisted quite plainly on camera. It was quite easily to see that it was actually a negative spirit. Mostly everyone else was picking up on the fact that there was something quite nasty around there. But they kept provoking. They kept provoking and provoking and provoking, and obviously it picked on the weakest person, and not really a clever thing to do. So I'm not interested in that kind of thing. There's a few people on YouTube that publish their blogs and paranormal activity and investigations, and like always, you will get people who like the sensational side of it. There's a couple of guys that I watched, or several people that I've watched, that seem to just keep going to places and getting evidence of activity and whatnot, but then not doing anything with it, just making it a sensationalist ghost story on YouTube. And personally, I find that kind of thing a waste of time and effort. Can't see the point in it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from with my own group, and it does seem like a lot of people who create their own groups who are interested in the paranormal, mainly because they can't get access to other groups, and which I find quite interesting, really, because why advertise yourself as a group? I mean, a lot of these people seem to advertise themselves as a group, one in particular, kind of around my area, and I just think, well, you're not really, you're kind of inviting people, but you're not inviting people to join you, which I just find, again, a bit of a waste of time. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to this podcast, as it were, or this blog. and hopefully I will find some other people, like-minded people around the Oxford, UK area who are interested in the paranormal and would like to go out and do some joint investigations. Okay, thank you very much for listening.